is Manda, and you can find me on Ravelry as MannaBee. This is MannaBee's Creations, and I wanted to do a podcast because I don't see anybody making or doing videos about Plarn and plastic and reusing things like I do in my craft. And there are a bunch of craft channels on YouTube, but I can't seem to find any that talk about or show what I do. So if it's not on the internet, you should make it be on the internet. So I wanted to start a podcast or a video blog or a YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it, a video series where I talk about what I'm making. So yeah, let's do that. Okay. Plastic noise. So this is a bag I made a while ago. It's out of 100% plastic. It is, let's show you the bottom. It's just a big oval on the bottom. That time. Okay, so this month, I made some more plastic yarn, and I've been working on a rug, but I'm not happy with it. I will probably end up ripping it all back out, and I'll show you why. So if you look at the edge of it like this, like it looks straight, it looks fine, and I thought everything was good until I laid it out on the floor and realized that this side, I don't know if I can show you it all in one thing. There you go, that kind of shows you a little bit better. The side here goes in a lot. So I was making this as a runner for my front porch area. So I was just doing a half double crochet through the back loop, so it kind of, I'm so sorry. So it kind of, a half double crochet through the back loop, so it kind of goes in and out, like a waffle, to try and kind of keep the muddy boots and things like that. But since it is longer on the edge I started and kind of shrinking towards the middle, and that's probably 100% my tension. As I was working it, I think I started it really loose, so it would like go really fast, and then when I picked it up again, I didn't go so loose, and so it tightened. Plastic is also really prone to kind of working closer and closer together, so I typically, I will typically work at a pretty tight tension to get it, just to stay together well and to hold firm and to do, what I want it to do. So I'm going to end up taking this all back out and starting over again. I think I'm going to use a different size hook. I'm not sure. When I realized that it was shrinking in towards the middle, I stopped because I was like, well, when this is laying on the ground with a rug, you have to be really careful about like a tripping hazard. So you don't want any big loops, you don't want any big loopy stitches, you don't want any like holes in your design where you have like open space because people will catch their toe on it, or catch their pinky toe if they're walking on it inside with no shoes on. So I'm always worried about, like, it needs to be a really close texture so that, and it also needs to stay very flat. If you have a rug that's going like this, when it's laying flat, that means that edge is going to be a ruffle, and that's not going to work out. So I'll probably end up ripping this all back out and starting over again. I was using let's see, what is it? A size N or a 9mm hook to make this one. I usually use this size I hook. It doesn't have a millimeter equivalent, but I usually use this one. And I thought if I used a bigger one, it would go faster. I'm not happy with it, so that is that. I made all of that Plarn that went into that rug, and then the white that I showed you. And that's pretty much all I've done this month. This month I've been really ill. I just can't seem to get well. I had a stomach bug that lasted a really long time, which no one wants to hear about, including myself. And then now I have that. Is it a cold? Is it a sinus infection? Is it just your allergies? Is it just the cruds of the season? Who knows? So that's been fun. You can hear it in my voice. I can hear it in my voice. My voice sounds too low, too deep, and it's echoing weird in my head. I don't like that. Okay, so that's my Plarn project for the month of February, which that just seemed to go by too quick. So the other thing I've been doing a lot of is I've been mending. So I've just been sitting around not feeling so great. And so I got out my sewing kit and was just kind of mending some things that needed some mending. And I finally fixed this bag. My sister made this for my grandmother. And when she passed, I got it. The handles on the side here that she had, looks like she had reclaimed it from some sort of other bag. But anyways, the little tabs here that were sewn into the side of the bag were pulled out. She made this out of tennis labels and then a vinyl, and then on the inside she did a those big plastic tablecloths. That's what I'm looking for. Big plastic tablecloths that you get from like a party store or something like that. Which it works. It's not really recycling it, but I guess my grandma loved tennis, and so she saved all of the labels from her tennis balls, I think is what this was from. So anyway, I fixed this up and I'm carrying it again. People think that I am selling something, but anyway, there you go. Oh, that's a cool bag. What is that? She made me a lollipop messenger bag, very similar to this. It didn't have this reclaimed webbing strap that's adjustable. She had one that was made out of all plastic, and I still have that one. But people do tend to think that I have, no, it's Tootsie Rolls. Yeah, people think that I have Tootsie Rolls, or that I sell Tootsie Rolls, or I just have a giant bag full of Tootsie Rolls with me and I can give them one. Or like I'm a Tootsie Roll representative or something. It's cool. I like the colors of it. It's brown and reds and anything like that. But anyway, I've been mending this and carrying it again. So that has been nice. I have something to show as a plastic basket. So this one is an oldie but goodie. This one I made when I was still living on the West Coast in Oregon. I was working in a organic local little grocery store, and in the deli area they made their own fresh pressed juice, and so they had all of these giant 25-pound bags of carrots that they went through all the time. I said, hey, can we save those? I'll make something out of them. So I used to make tons of stuff with this carrot bag plastic, and you can see it has stretched a bunch because I used to carry this to the market with me. This used to be my shopping bag, and it's just a really big round oval circle. Actually, it's kind of squashed, but you can see it's just plastic carrot bags. It's got one strand in the middle and one just kind of single crocheted loosely around it. And then it's got this three-way handle kind of design on there. And anyways, I just wanted to show that you can make plastic bags out of pretty much anything you collect enough out of. I want to make another basket like this with bread bags and bagel bags, because when you make them up, they're so colorful, and I love the way it looks, and I think that would be really great in like a really colorful bread bags. The problem with doing the bread bags or the carrot bags is because to do a really nice long strip of it, you have to do the bags end to end, which means that you do end up having the inside be kind of all of the ends and be kind of rough. You can kind of try to trap them inside the stitches, but they do kind of wiggle out. So this is what it looks like years later. Let's see. I probably made this 2006, somewhere in there, 2004 to 2006, when I was living in Eugene, Oregon. Okay. And in this basket, I keep all of my crochet thread. All my little, I roll them up into balls so they don't take up so much space, and the girls love to play with them, like little dragon eggs, or like they're hatching things. I don't know. Okay. So I'm making something for my daughter with, so this is, so I'm making her a little Totoro, little amigurumi stuffed animal, a little squishy, as she likes to call him. Her birthday is this month, and so yeah, I didn't get it quite done in time, but she will like it. I just have to finish the embroidery detail. I like to do that before I do the bottom of it. So this is just some gray acrylic yarn and some white crochet thread, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I had to find some gray thread, that was the holdup, because I didn't have any. I found some on this little sewing little kit, so I got to do the little Totoro little crash patches. If you don't know what that's from a Hayao Miyazaki Studio Ghibli film that my daughters and I absolutely adore. It's about two little girls and a forest tree spirit. Anyways, if you haven't seen it, you should. But I got the ears done. That was really hard to get them the same. I'm not going off of a pattern this time. I do know of some patterns that are similar. There is a lady who does them, a video of them, but it's not in English, and it also doesn't show you all the way through. So I was trying to like just follow along with what she does, but she skips ahead. So, you know, I'm pretty good at following tutorials that aren't in English, as long as they are not a lot of cuts in between. You know, so I kind of had to figure it out, but that's okay. I got it. So now I just have to finish off the embroidery and start the decreases for the bottom. And I didn't pull out the little thing to show you, but it's going to be just like a little egg shape. So anyways, and just a little bobby pin to hold it all together for right now. Anyways, so I, in the past, have done little white circles for the eyes with a little black embroidery thread in the middle. They ended up kind of coming out a little more mouse than Totoro. So sorry if you can hear my kitty. She has found a bit of yarn to play with. So I'm not going to do that this time. I think I'm going to do like just a little sleepy eye, kind of with black embroidery thread. So I just have to finish that up for her. Okay. So that is that. And this month, even though I've been really under the weather, I've been trying something new. I wanted to learn how to knit. I've always really wanted to learn how to knit, but it was like really intimidating. You know, there's a lot to learn. I didn't really know where to start, and somebody had given me some straight knitting needles, so I had done swatches with it, so I kind of knew how to knit and how to purl. I didn't know how to do the increases and the decreases and how to actually, you know, make something with it. But I found a YouTube channel that I really, really like, and she does a step-by-step slow series where she shows you exactly how to do all of the things, which is great. And it's Jana from Purl together. If I'll link to her. She seems like she would be a really great lady to hang out with. But anyways, she makes a series where she does this free pattern for little ankle socks, but she does them out of just regular size this is worsted weight, what I would call regular size yarn. And she shows you how to do like all of the increases in the heel and all that, and you end up with a pair of slipper socks. And I had three DPNs. I have no idea what size they are. So I decided to do the stock net, just the back and forth net stitches on the top, and see if that gauge met with hers and if it would fit around my ankle. And it did. So I decided to go for it. And it works out really well. I'm really, really pleased with them. I have been wearing them excessively. They're great for just around the house. And she does all of the math for you, you know, as far as how many stitches to go across and all that, because that's really scary and intimidating when you're first starting to know like what gauge and how to make it fit your foot and all that stuff. So she really walks you through like the math gauge portion, which, you know, something I wouldn't attempt to do on my own, to be honest. So she helps you, you know, figure out the size of your foot and then how many stitches across, and so then how many stitches you need to cast on for your size ankle and your size foot, and then you just make it to be, you know, like 1.5 to 2 inches. You know, she shows you where it goes on your foot, and then you just make it to the point, and then she showed you how to like decrease for the toe. Anyways, she walks you through it, so I gave it a try. I had 3 DPNs, so I had all of these stitches all the way across on just 2, and they were like slipping off the ends, so I was using rubber bands to like hold them on there, and I was like, okay, if I can make this pair of socks, I will actually invest some money into actually having some equipment to make things. I've always wanted to learn how to make socks specifically. So that was a success. So I put in an order. Okay, so I should start by saying I don't buy myself things. Like maybe a lip balm here or there, but that's it. Like I don't put in orders for things. Crafting tools, that's a bit easier because, you know, I can use them again and again and again and again. Yarn, not so much because I usually make my own with Plarn. So, yeah, I don't normally spend anything more. I do buy the crochet thread because I do like making the little amigurumi things. But once you buy a thing of crochet thread, it lasts forever. So it's not really the same as buying like a bunch of yarn. Anyways, so I bought myself we were at a bookstore and I found this book, which is just absolute eye candy. I'm not going to show you the inside because it's copyright stuff and I don't want to like do something like that. But this is absolutely gorgeous. She bases all of her patterns and designs on optical illusion art from like the 50s and the 60s, and like it's got that MC Etcher kind of design all the way through their colorwork socks, and I've never done anything like that, obviously, and I would really love to maybe give some of these a try. So we shall see, but absolutely gorgeous. The thing that I loved about this book the most was she has done all the math on all of these designs. So these are all charted out. And once things are charted out, you can do almost anything with it. You can do this on the side of a basket. You can do this in a large thing and make it a rug. You can make, you know, anything with it. Once someone has done the math and made a design into a graph that you can follow, you can do anything you want with it. So I saw that and I was like, so I would love to make like the side of a basket or a rug or something like that with like a really cool design on it. Even if I never make a pair of socks with it, I'm pretty sure I know how to do crochet color work enough that I could make something with that. So I had to get that. I also, plasticky sounds, I also picked up some little sock DPNs. So these are the Nova Platina double pointed 6-inch sock needle set. They're by Knitter's Pride. They are size 0 to size 3, which is a 2.0 millimeter range to a 3.25 millimeter range. And I've been using the littlest ones on a pair of socks I'm working on. So I finished the first one. It's got cat fur on it. I finished the first one, and I don't know if this brown is going to pick up the pattern at all. There you go, a little bit in the, there you go. This is also on Jana's Purl Together Sloth series is what she calls it. She does these My Cup of Tea socks. So mine are in this that I already had from doing some gloves for my sister for Christmas. So I finished this first sock, and I am just past the decreases for the heel on the second sock. So it goes like this. So these are on the 2.0 millimeter needles. And as I was making the first sock, I noticed that some of the needle chrome material was flaking off. So I'm going to have to deal with that. You can see the copper underneath on the edges of the DP ends. It's all scratched off. You can hear it scratching on the, when you're, you know, touching them together. It makes like a scratchy sound now because that coating is starting to wear off. I don't think my camera is going to pick it up closely, but on the corners of it, like right here where they touch together, is starting, and like you can see the copper. It's all coming off. I don't know if it's going to pick it up at all, but anyways, I will have to take close-up pictures of it and send it back up to the company, so that's kind of a bummer. You know, I specifically looked at ones that had the laser etched sizing on them. My camera might be able to pick that up. Let's see. So in the middle of them, oh, you can just barely see it. In the middle of them, it has the laser etched sizing of the needle, and I thought that was pretty clever. I wanted that so I wouldn't be second guessing like what size I was using. Anyways, so I was looking for stitch markers and like a row marker, and they're ridiculously expensive in the store for what amounts to a piece of plastic. And you know, just getting started, the initial equipment investment, I was already out like $30–40 from the sock needles. So I decided I was just gonna look around and see what I had, and I had this little beaded snowflake star thing from a pair of earrings that I was gonna make as a Christmas present one year, and ended up not making them because I forgot to put a little loop at the top of one of them. And I didn't like how they turned out. They were a little bit unsecure once they, you know, hooked to the jewelry thing. So I had already put little seed beads in them. It probably is not going to pick up. I had already put these little white seed beads in them. So I just put a little lobster claw clasp on it and some jump rings on it, and so I had myself a progress keeper and or a, you know, a row counter. And then for stitch markers, I just used I don't think that's even picking up against the bit there, but I just used jump rings from my beading stuff. So yeah, you can get them in multi-size packs. You can get them, you know, like 100 or so at a time. So I just used these instead of those expensive little plastic rings that you can get from the store. So that's something I already had. And yeah, that works. It worked. You just, so the yarn I'm making this out of is from the Michaels brand of Loops and Threads. It's the wool-like simoleon, and this is in the chocolate colorway for these socks. I don't have any wool. I'm not sure if I like wool. I have not owned anything or worn anything that was wool since I was a kid. And I just remember it being really itchy and being really uncomfortable and just too warm, hating it. So I will probably make a wool pair of socks for my mom or something like that if she wants them. But yeah, I don't really know. I didn't want to get wool, make myself a pair of socks, wear them, hate them, and then never wear them, and I put all that work into it. So I figured I would use something that I already had on hand right now, and I would, it's the right size, it's a finger and weight yarn, and I would use that. I would try that. If it worked, I had myself a pair of socks, and I could go forward from there. If it didn't work, it's, just some yarn that I didn't spend like a whole bunch of money on. Okay, so I had a finished pair of socks, and I have a mostly finished pair of socks. And once again, that is the My Cup of Tea. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and she has a whole video series walking you through it. So if you wanted to give that a try. I also bought, since I like that yarn so much and I can use it for so many, sorry, plastic sounds. I forgot to tell you, this is the yarn that I used for the slipper socks. It is discontinued. It was on clearance. Excuse me. Let's see, what color is it? Isle Royale. So it is Heartland Plarn brand. It is, it's an acrylic obviously, but it is a medium. That really doesn't tell you much. I'm not a big fan of the big box store sizing. When you're getting into yarns, the sizing and the names of all of them, the worsted weight, the sport weight, the finger weight, are all so subjective that I usually go by either the size crochet hook that they call out for them, but even that's really subjective. Like, I usually do things that have like a really close, so I'm just going to use the small size crochet hook that I can get to grab onto the yarn, not necessarily what it says to do. So it's really hard to like say what size yarn is, but this says it's a 4, and it says it's 16 stitches by 22 rows for a 4x4 inch swatch. That's what it says. So I like when you're on Ravelry and you look at a pattern and it says what weight of yarn, and then it also says in parentheses like wraps per inch. And I wish that yarn companies went by that as well and give you a wraps per inch. The idea is you're supposed to take the bit of yarn and wrap it around just a standard size pencil, and then measure in an inch how many wraps did you get, 14, 12, 10, 6, for the different size yarns. I think that's a much more sensical logical across the board, and then you can say how many plies are in it, like 3 ply, 2 ply, 4 ply, you know, and then obviously what it's made out of. It just makes more sense to me. All of this other stuff does not. Anyway, I also got this yarn, which is the same size. It is the Vanna's Choice, also on clearance. This one is just a charcoal gray. So I might make another pair of slipper socks. But I do still have some of this, so I could make like a hat or something like that. I also picked up, this is probably going to come across as black, but it's also, it's actually a deep blue. So I picked up more of the that yarn that I like. I got it in, so now I have it in gray, in the brown, and this one is ivory, so it's off-white, a navy blue, and a pretty burgundy mulberry kind of color. So I'm going to I'm going to play around with that. Like I said, I have a big bag of acrylic yarn that somebody gave me, my mom gave me for my last birthday, and I've just been trying out techniques and, you know, doing my swatches and trying out different stitches and kind of just using that as my scrap yarn to try some different techniques. So I will more than likely try some of the larger size CPNs and see if I can get some color work, little swatches to work out and see how that works. I don't know. But anyway, that is what I've been working on this month. And yeah, that's what I've been working on this month. So yeah, I think that's everything. I'm going to try and see how difficult it is to set up a pattern that's available for download through Ravelry. See if I can get that worked up so that other people can follow along with my the skull color work basket that I showed last time, and see if how difficult that is. I've never made a pattern to share, so I'm kind of interested in, you know, what I need to do that. I might have some more tech friendly people help me with that, so maybe that'll kind of out. So we shall see. But thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. And if you know of anyone who does stuff with Plarn or recycle, or, you know, goes to their recycle bin as their supplies for making things on YouTube or anywhere else, Instagram, whatever, please let me know. I am looking for other people in my area or in the internet of things that do similar things to me, and I can't seem to find them. I'm looking for fellow-minded artists who are making things out of just things that would end up getting recycled or thrown away. So if you know anybody like that, please link them to me. I would love that. And right, I will see you next time. All right, thank you so much. Bye.